The anime begins by showing Dariel, who is 34 years old. He has served the Demon King's army faithfully since he was adopted as a baby by General Grambaza, one of the top demon commanders. Even though Dariel is loyal, he stays at the lowest rank because he cannot use magic, unlike the other demons. This makes him an outcast and a disappointment to the generals. When Grambaza retires and his son Bashbaza takes over, Dariel is fired and banished from the palace on his first day under the new leadership. With nowhere to go, Dariel wanders in the forest for days with little food and sleep, trying to find a new direction. One morning, he sees a human woman running from a monstrous monkey. Even though he has no magic, Dariel tries to save her. He fights the monster with his strength but is knocked down. The monster hits him, and he falls. Seeing a dagger in the woman's bag, Dariel grabs it, ignoring the rule against demons using human weapons, and stabs the monster, copying moves he saw in a human hero story. The woman thanks him for saving her. As Dariel tries to leave, she holds onto his cloak and asks him to come to her village. She wants to thank him with a meal. Hungry, Dariel agrees. When they reach Luck's village, she introduces herself as Marika. He meets her parents, Envil, the village mayor, and her mother. Dariel is careful around them, fearing they might discover he is a demon. He says he was wandering the forest after being kicked out by his boss's son. Grateful for his help, Marika and her parents insist he stay with them. Dariel reluctantly accepts. The next day, Dariel talks about job options with Envil, who is also the village guild master. Envil suggests Dariel join the guild as an adventurer, doing tasks like gathering herbs and fighting monsters. Envil believes in Dariel's abilities and offers him a guild registration form. Dariel is worried because only humans can complete the ritual. Afraid of being found out, he tries to leave, but Marika pricks his finger and puts a drop of his blood on the form. To Dariel's surprise, the ritual works, and he is registered in the guild. He learns that although he was raised by the demon Grambaza, he is actually human. The next day, Envil starts Dariel's adventurer training by explaining aura, a vital energy humans use to power weapons. The best weapon for an adventurer depends on their aura type: slash, sting, protect, or hit. Dariel starts with a sword, testing his slash ability on a tree stump. Even though he is not used to swords, he uses his aura to cut through the stump, impressing Marika and Envil. Then, he uses a bow and arrow to shoot an apple, showing his sting ability. Next, he smashes a boulder with a hammer to show his hit ability. Finally, he uses a small shield to block a strong attack from Envil's hammer, demonstrating his protectability. Envil is amazed by Dariel's skill in all 4 aura types, something he has never seen before. Envil suggests that Dariel apply to the Central Guild, the highest place for any adventurer, and offers him a great recommendation letter. However, seeing Marika's tears, Dariel chooses to stay in the village. Soon after, Envil introduces Dariel to the villagers as their new adventurer. Everyone welcomes him warmly, except for a green-haired teenager named Gashida, the village's only adventurer. Gashida mocks Dariel for his age and low E-rank status, boasting about his higher C rank and telling Dariel not to interfere. Envil apologizes for Gashida's arrogance and gives Dariel his first task: collecting medicinal herbs that Gashida has ignored. Dariel accepts the job, warned by Envil about a monster in the nearby woods that Gashida failed to hunt 6 months ago. When Dariel sees the monster's picture, he and Marika realize it's the same one he defeated to save her, unknowingly completing his first guild mission. The next day, Dariel and Gashida talk about quests with the guild master. Embarrassed by Dariel's success, Gashida reluctantly thanks him for defeating the monkey monster. Frustrated, Gashida grabs a quest from the master's desk and rushes off. Meanwhile, Dariel goes into the woods with Marika, who skillfully navigates through the thick vegetation. She tells him her childhood dream of becoming an adventurer and explains she was in the forest the day Dariel rescued her because Gashida refused to collect herbs for a sick villager. As they search for plants, Marika spots deer tracks and decides to hunt for dinner. They find a deer, but it transforms with eerie red eyes and fights a giant spider. Marika grabs her dagger and charges at the monsters, with Dariel joining her. Together, they defeat both creatures and return to the village. Gashida, jealous and upset, runs away in tears. Days pass, and Dariel settles into village life, but he still has issues with Gashida. One morning, Dariel finds Envil looking stressed at the guild office. Envil explains there's an urgent quest involving the Blaze Death, a very dangerous monster in the village's woods. This quest is usually for C-rank adventurers and higher, but a neighboring town's guild is handling it because the village lacks high-ranking adventurers. Gashida learns about the quest and leaves quickly, raising concerns that he might interfere with the other guild and cause problems. Dariel decides to go after Gashida and bring him back safely. Before leaving, Marika gives him medicinal supplies made from the herbs they collected earlier. As Dariel heads to where the Blaze Death was last seen, he is surprised to find the monster's trail but no signs of the other guild's adventurers. Suddenly, Gashida appears, being chased by the monstrous serpent. Dariel gets ready to fight, but the creature ignores him, focusing on Gashida. Gashida's arrow attack fails, and Dariel's initial strike is too shallow. The monster lashes out with its tail, breaking Dariel's sword. Undeterred, Dariel uses a shard of the sword with his sting and hit abilities to fatally wound the monster. After defeating the Blaze Death, Dariel uses Marika's anti-venom on Gashida's bite and applies Bloodsta herb to his wounds to stop the bleeding. They return to the village victorious. The next day, Gashida visits Dariel, calling him Big Bro. He thanks Dariel and expresses a desire to learn from him once he recovers. Meanwhile, at the Demon King's palace, a defeated general blames her loss on the assistant to the 4 generals for poor scouting, which led to a surprise attack by a new enemy spearman. Bashbaza, angry, fires the assistant, adding to the growing list of dismissals since Dariel was expelled. General Droy suggests reinstating Dariel, praising his past flawless execution of tasks, strategic skill, and concern for their well-being. However, Bashbaza's deep hatred for Dariel makes him reject the idea completely. One evening, Dariel asks the mayor about the many empty houses in the village. The mayor explains that beyond Lux Village is a mithril mine, a precious metal highly desired by both humans and demons for its magical properties. Humans make powerful weapons from it, while demons create magical gear. This valuable resource caused conflicts between the two groups. Lux Village used to thrive as an important stop on the mithril trade route. However, when demons took control of the mine during the mayor's youth, the village lost its main source of income and slowly declined into obscurity. Deciding to take action, Dariel plans to visit the mithril mine the next day. He used to oversee this place when he worked under the army generals. Hoping to negotiate for mithril to help revive Lux Village, he disguises himself with an empty crate and slips through the gate, surprised by the lack of security. As he goes deeper into the mine, he calls out to find whoever is in charge now. Suddenly, the Knockers, a small race with broad faces and glowing features, appear from the shadows. They recognize Dariel and excitedly greet him with hugs and affection. They tell him that under Bashbaza's new orders, they must extract 4 times the usual amount of mithril. The Knockers complain about their lower status and the removal of security forces that once protected them, now seen as a way to cut costs. Their conversation stops suddenly when a squad of demon soldiers enters the mine. Dariel quickly hides behind a large rock. The new commander yells at the Knockers for not meeting the mithril quotas on time. Despite their pleas, he threatens them, demanding they produce the material by the next day or face severe punishment. Frustrated, one Knocker rebels and hits the commander on the head. Angry, he orders his soldiers to execute them all. Knowing the Knockers can't win against trained soldiers, Dariel intervenes by throwing a shovel to disrupt the first spell. Masked to hide his identity, he steps forward with a sword. Addressing the demons, Dariel gives them a choice: retreat peacefully or face his opposition. The commander laughs and orders his soldiers to attack. As spells begin to cast, Dariel focuses on breaking their concentration. However, one Knocker tries to fight a soldier during the ritual. Dariel fears it's too late, but the soldier easily blocks the attack, showing their disciplined training. Appealing to their sense of honor, Dariel asks the soldiers not to harm the non-combatant Knockers, emphasizing that killing them would dishonor them. At first, his plea works, but the commander interrupts with a threat, making the soldiers intensify their chants. Knowing the timing of each ritual, Dariel strikes strategically, stopping soldiers just before they complete their spells. Desperate, the commander casts a spell at Dariel, but Dariel deflects it easily with his sword. He overpowers the commander and presses his sword to the commander's neck. The commander begs for mercy, claiming he is a civilian appointed by Lord Bashbaza. Dariel, driven by honor, spares him but gives him a close shave and orders him to resign. Afraid of further retribution, the commander and his soldiers retreat quickly, leaving the mine in tense calm. Grateful, the Knockers hail Dariel as their savior and unanimously appoint him their leader. Returning to Luck's village, Dariel tells the mayor about reclaiming control of the mine. He urges the mayor to ensure the Knockers' safety, effectively putting the mithril mine back under human control for the first time in decades. The Knockers, knowing every part of the mine, stay on as guides. With mining operations revived, Luck's village thrives once more. Meanwhile, the Demon King's army faces growing problems under Bashbaza's poor leadership, worsened by the loss of the mithril supply. In anger, the Demon King summons Bashbaza to the throne room to answer for his mistakes. The king is furious that Bashbaza defied his orders by increasing mithril quotas, which strained the Knockers and caused a rebellion. The king considers this a serious error and thinks about bringing Dariel back, praising Bashbaza's father for keeping skilled soldiers like Dariel. Hearing Dariel's name makes Bashbaza throw a tantrum outside the courtroom. Back in the village, Marika asks Dariel to marry her, but their moment is interrupted by a fight between Gashida and Fitbitin, the leader of Campbelltown's adventurers. Fitbitin mocks Luck's village for having only 2 D-rank adventurers and dismisses their success with the mithril mine as luck. Dariel responds by saying he and Gashida handled the Blaze Death quest alone, which shuts Fitbitin up and makes him give up his claim over the mine. The next day, Mr. Basiria, a diplomat from the Central Guild, meets with Dariel. He is sent to negotiate with the Knockers, but they only want to talk to Dariel. Dariel explains that the Knockers are cautious because they were exploited by the demon army in the past. He is their liberator and has earned their trust. Mr. Basiria asks Dariel to be a mediator during the negotiations, and Dariel agrees. At the mine, Dariel convinces the Knockers to listen to Mr. Basiria, and they agree to cooperate. As Dariel leaves the mine, he hears an announcement from the Demon King, pardoning the Knockers for their rebellion and inviting them back. Recognizing the voice, Dariel rushes to investigate and finds his old comrade from the army, Lizette. Lizette creates a barrier of rushing water, telling Dariel to back off. Dariel calms his friend by revealing his true identity, leading to an emotional reunion. Lizette expresses concern for Dariel and describes the chaos within the demon ranks since the Demon King reprimanded Bashbaza. Lizette explains that the Demon King sent him to fix relations with the Knockers, emphasizing the importance of alliances with demi-humans. He urges Dariel to return, mentioning General Droy's support for reinstating him. However, Dariel declines, stating his commitment to his new life. When Lizette tries to use magic to force him, Dariel counters with his aura skills, suggesting an alternative plan. Dariel brings Lizette to meet Mr. Basiria and presents his proposal. He suggests that humans sell a portion of the mithril to demons at a high price, 4 times the market value. They argue that mithril is essential for both humans and demons, and if demons try to reclaim the mine, it could lead to a destructive conflict. By selling mithril at a premium, this outcome could be avoided. Lizette confirms the demons' urgent need for mithril and agrees they would accept the deal despite the cost. Fitbitin, who is on guard duty, strongly opposes the idea and attacks Lizette with a dagger, but Dariel stops him. Mr. Basiria intervenes, reminding Fitbitin of his security role and supporting Dariel's plan. The next day, Mr. Basiria asks Dariel to reopen the old mithril workshop. When Dariel arrives, he finds that Fitbitin has already taken over the workshop with blacksmiths from Campbelltown. The mayor explains that Campbelltown used to guard the mithril mine, which is why Fitbitin insists on controlling the workshop now that Dariel has reclaimed the mine. An elderly mithril smith named Smith, sent by the Central Guild, arrives in the village to offer his expertise. Smith asks to work in the workshop, but Fitbitin dismisses his credentials. Smith humbly pleads for a chance and is reluctantly given a small corner in the workshop. He is thrilled to work with mithril again. Despite the struggles of other smiths, Smith demonstrates the proper technique by crafting a powerful, oversized sword. Dariel is amazed as his aura seamlessly merges with the mithril, allowing him to slice through a large tree with ease. Fitbitin regrets dismissing Smith and invites him to join the workshop, but Smith refuses due to Fitbitin's earlier rudeness. Smith insists that Dariel keep the broadsword, believing it is not suitable for himself. Later, Smith confides that his ultimate goal is to craft the greatest weapon of his life for Dariel, using his perfect aura of all 4 types. During his time at the workshop, Smith manages to secretly obtain some mithril and sets up a small forge at his home. He also brings an ether ion, a magical device available on the black market, which needs a magical source to work. Dariel asks Lizette to help, who reluctantly agrees as a favor. Later that day, Fitbiton proposes that Dariel ally with Campbelltown against the Central Guild, accusing them of keeping most of the mine's profits. He promises better treatment of Lux Village if Dariel agrees to the alliance. Dariel declines, citing the harm Fitbiton has caused to the people he cares about. Enraged, Fitbiton throws down his glove, challenging Dariel to a duel in the village square. When Dariel returns home, he learns that accepting the challenge is a formal way for men to duel. The mayor explains the duel's rules. It continues until one person surrenders or cannot fight anymore. The duel's outcome could determine ownership of the mine, and if someone dies, the killer isn't prosecuted, making duels a way to settle personal grudges. Concerned for Dariel's safety, everyone urges him to reconsider, but refusing could mean Campbelltown takes control of the mine. Dariel insists on participating in the duel, and Smith trains him to use a mithril weapon. The next morning, both opponents gather at the square. Fitbiton wields a shield and blade made partly of mithril. In contrast, Dariel reveals a simple yet pure mithril knife. Fitbiton mocks his choice of weapon, but Dariel surprises him by throwing a boulder that explodes near his face. As Fitbiton charges, Dariel uses his knife to keep him at a distance. Fitbiton finds an opening and strikes, but Dariel skillfully parries and lands a powerful blow on Fitbiton's shield, breaking it in 2. Smith explains that Dariel's knife, called the Hermes sword, is special. It responds to the user's aura, and with Dariel's perfect aura, it can take on limitless forms. Dariel dismantles Fitbiton's sword, but then an ally throws a mithril longsword to Fitbiton. Dariel transforms his knife into a whip and quickly destroys the longsword on Fitbiton's first attack, securing his victory. Exhausted, Fitbiton admits defeat, and the duel ends. Marika, overjoyed, hugs Dariel and congratulates him. Later, Mr. Basiria from the Central Guild apologizes to Dariel for the conflict and assures him that Campbelltown and its guild will face consequences. Dariel suggests his own penalty, that the guild repair the house's damage during the duel. Impressed by Dariel's integrity and skill, Mr. Basiria invites him to join the Central Guild, which Marika overhears. Dariel asks for time to think about the offer. That evening, while relaxing in the sauna, Dariel is joined by Marika, who wants to talk privately. She mentions his upcoming trip to the Central Guild and says she wants to spend more time with him before he leaves. Marika praises his talents and thanks him for helping transform Lux Village, saying she's never been happier than when she's with him. Dariel, moved by her selflessness, reveals his decision to decline the Central Guild's offer, saying he loves the village. Marika is relieved, and with tears in her eyes, she hugs Dariel. He gently wipes her tears away, and they share a heartfelt kiss, realizing he now has another reason to stay in Lux Village. Meanwhile, in the Demon King's palace, Bashbaza visits his father, Grand Baza, who is doing magical exercises to recover. Grand Baza joins his son for dinner, reminiscing about passing on his role as one of the 4 generals and calling Dariel a stroke of extraordinary luck. He asks about Dariel's well-being, and Bashbaza lies, saying Dariel is flourishing under the general service. Sensing the lie, Grand Baza becomes frustrated and punches a nearby wall. He demands that Bashbaza bring Dariel back, but Bashbaza, wanting to prove himself, refuses. The next morning, Dariel and Marika emerge from the same bedroom, and Dariel senses that her parents might already know about their intimate night together. Feeling nervous all morning, Dariel is called by Envel to his office. Envel, acknowledging his and his wife's advancing age, says it's time for the younger generation to take on more responsibility. He praises Dariel for his contributions to the village and offers him the position of mayor. Dariel gratefully accepts and asks for permission to marry Marika, which Envel grants. With joy, Dariel proposes to Marika, who happily accepts, marking the start of a new chapter in their lives. A year quickly passes, and Dariel and Marika enjoy their married life with their baby son, Gran, named after Dariel's mentor, Grambaza. Dariel has told Marika and her family about his past with the demons, and they accepted him without hesitation. As a successful mayor, Dariel manages the growing mithril processing business, helping the village thrive. Sadly, Smith has passed away from old age. He spent his final days working in the workshop, inspiring everyone with his passion for mithril smithing. One day, Gashida tells Dariel that the village's hero is coming. This hero is known as the strongest adventurer in the Central Guild, dedicated to defeating the Demon King, which worries Dariel because of his past with the demon army. Dariel prepares to meet the hero in disguise, afraid of being recognized. To his surprise, the hero is a young and beautiful woman named Lady, who recently took the title after the previous hero retired. She arrives with her two companions, a shield specialist and a spear wielder. Lady is looking for the perfect mithril weapon to fight the Demon King. They stay at the mayor's house, and the next morning, Dariel greets Lady's companions and asks if she is awake. They knock on her door, and Lady quickly gets ready in 5 seconds, surprising her companions. During breakfast, Lady explains her two reasons for visiting the village. First, she wants to see the mithril weapons right away. Dariel takes her to the workshop, proudly stating it's the only one of its kind in the world. Before he died, Smith taught everything he knew to the current smiths, who now follow his techniques. Showing a mithril sword, Dariel invites Lady's party to infuse their auras into it, which the shield girl finds exciting. Lady, impatient, asks Dariel to show the other weapons. Dariel introduces Sakai, Smith's apprentice and the village's best mithril smith. Sakai first mistakes the spearman for the hero and flirts, but when he realizes Lady is the hero, he skillfully reads her aura through her touch, correctly identifying her as having a slash-type aura. Impressed, Lady moves on to her second objective, finding a fourth member for her party, a quest she has pursued across many regions. While she talks about this with Dariel, Gashida enters the forge, volunteering to take on the challenge. The village organizes a competition to choose the fourth member of Lady's party, attracting many participants. The selection involves head-to-head battles between Lady's party members and all contenders. Despite using kitchen utensils to handicap themselves, Lady's party wins every match. Suddenly, an arrow narrowly misses Lady, shot by Gashida from a distance. He keeps shooting arrows, prompting Lady to charge toward him, sensing his strong but inaccurate aim. Using his aura, Gashida launches more arrows, but Lady easily cuts them down. As Gashida prepares to shoot again, Lady unleashes a powerful attack. Realizing its danger, Dariel quickly throws an apple to disrupt Lady's strike, saving Gashida's life. After the incident, Gashida tearfully apologizes to Dariel for potentially disgracing the village, but Dariel praises him for showing the strength of the village's best adventurer. Within a year, Gashida rises from D rank to B rank. Lady still believes that Dariel is the village's strongest adventurer and challenges him to a one-on-one duel, even though he is retired. Though hesitant, Dariel accepts the challenge. He blocks her initial attack and uses his versatile weapon to outmaneuver her. Their skills are evenly matched, with Lady pushing herself to the limit, even slashing a mountain in her attempt to hit Dariel. Impressed by Dariel's strength, Lady puts away her wooden sword and draws her real blade, preparing her ultimate attack, Skyren. However, Dariel, who knows this move from his encounters with the former hero, counters it perfectly with his own technique. Their attacks clash and cancel each other out, leaving Lady amazed that Dariel uses the same move as the former hero. Despite Lady's insistence and her party members' pleas for Dariel to join them, he politely declines, choosing to return home. That night, Lady and her party visit him while he feeds his son, asking him again to join them. Dariel reaffirms his commitment to his family and the village, explaining that they depend on him, making it impossible for him to leave, even for the hero's party. Frustrated, Lady tells Dariel he is wasting his potential by staying in the village and vows to recruit him. Dariel struggles with the idea of fighting against demons who were once his friends, like Lizette, Grambaza, and Droys, who always emphasized protecting children. Determined to understand Dariel's reasons, Lady decides to observe him closely. The next day, Lady watches as Dariel helps villagers with various tasks. His day starts at the forge, where he advises Sakai, who is feeling the pressure of crafting high-quality weapons. At the guild hall, Dariel finds his father-in-law struggling with a strained back while cleaning, so Dariel takes over the task. From repairing fences to caring for stray cats, Dariel's actions show his deep belief in caring for his community. That evening, Lady asks Dariel to join her at the waterfall for a private conversation. She questions him about his knowledge of the Skyrim technique's origin. Dariel suggests he learned it by mimicking her style, but Lady points out subtle differences that align more closely with the former hero, Arancel. Known for his refined Emperor's Skyrim technique and his habit of using it frequently in battles, Dariel admits he didn't know its significance, which frustrates Lady. She confronts him with her sword drawn, seeking answers. Lady urges Dariel once more to join her cause, stressing that those with aura abilities have a duty to fight the Demon King. They debate the origins of the conflict, with Dariel arguing that a human hero's quest to kill the Demon King led to the demon's defensive actions. Lady counters with the sad story of General Bezin, who unjustly killed Arancel's wife and child, turning Arancel into a vengeful figure. Despite his efforts, Arancel never found his son's body. Dariel shares his experience at the Mithril mine, where he saw demon soldiers refusing to harm non-combatants. He argues that both sides fight for their loved ones, challenging the idea of a clear good versus evil divide. Moved by Dariel's integrity and conviction, Lady stops trying to recruit him. She admits that she is looking for more than just mithril weapons or another party member. She seeks a heart as strong and compassionate as his. She asks Dariel to be her mentor, seeing it as a way to influence her and advocate for peace. Dariel agrees, seeing this as a chance to move Lady toward ending the long conflict. One day, Lisette visits Dariel to babysit Gran while Marika is out. Dariel is surprised by Lisette's fondness for children as he plays with Gran. Lisette asks about the hero's party, and Dariel tells him that they plan to stay in Lux Village for a while with no immediate war threats. In return, Lisette reveals Dariel's recent promotion to Special Envoy, a position created just for him with authority equal to the 4 great generals, thanks to his efforts in securing mithril supplies for the demons. Dariel questions the need for the new role, and Lisette explains that operations became less efficient after his dismissal, increasing everyone's responsibilities. Their conversation is interrupted by the sudden appearance of Zeviance, one of the demon generals, who surprises both Lisette and Dariel. They know her presence means trouble. Zeviance first punishes Lisette for keeping information about Dariel by using him as a makeshift chair, enjoying his discomfort. When Marika returns home, she welcomes the unexpected guest without issue, despite Zeviance's odd behavior. However, tensions rise when Zeviance insults Dariel, calling him derogatory names. Marika, though shaken, shows her displeasure by firing a cork from a wine bottle like a bullet, narrowly missing Zeviance's face. Keeping a facade of politeness, Zeviance tells Dariel that she is not there to confront him but to investigate Lisette and his secret connections that helped secure Mithril. Lisette apologizes to Dariel for unintentionally leading Zeviance to him, acknowledging her ability to completely hide her presence. Zeviance, flattered by her own power and charm, says her abilities would be even better with mithril-made magical equipment, demanding that Dariel give her all his mithril. Politely but firmly, Dariel refuses, citing the current trade relations between humans and demons that he doesn't want to disrupt. Zeviance tries to intimidate him, but Marika's stern look silences her. Dariel suggests they continue the discussion outside, where she can freely try to intimidate him. Without warning, Zeviance attacks Dariel with a wind bullet, which he narrowly dodges. She declares that violence is the only way to prove her strength and seeks revenge on Dariel for sending Marika to threaten her. Dariel suggests talking, but Zeviance dismisses the idea, taking to the skies and forcing Dariel to draw his weapon. Mocking him for using a weapon despite being a demon, unaware of his humanity, Zeviance is surprised when Dariel feints an attack, then quickly points his blade at her to end the fight. To save face, Zeviance claims she wasn't ready and asks for a rematch, flying higher. Realizing she can't match Dariel's skill, she changes her strategy, threatening to blow away the entire village and take all the mithril. Zeviance unleashes a fierce geostorm, but Dariel counters with Emperor Skyrim, his aura absorbing the storm's power. Shocked by her defeat, Zeviance collapses. Dariel leaps to catch her, and Lisette uses water magic to prevent them from crashing. Frustrated, Zeviance cries, and Dariel comforts her, making a deal to sell her mithril if she promises to keep his presence in the village a secret. Desiring a mithril weapon like Dariel's Hermes sword, Zeviance follows him to the forge, where Dariel asks Sakai to craft a magic-capable weapon for her. Knowing the hero's party will soon return from a nearby town and might encounter one of the demon generals, Dariel rushes to the village gate to delay their arrival. Meanwhile, Sakai engages Zeviance, selling her various items to keep her busy. Welcoming Lady and her party at the gate with a friendly smile, Dariel assigns quests to her companions and gives Lady an exhausting sword practice task, hoping to keep them busy. Meanwhile, Sakai continues to distract Zeviance. However, fate takes a turn when Lady and Zeviance unexpectedly meet in the sauna. Recognizing Zeviance as one of the demon generals, Lady reacts quickly, forcing Dariel to intervene before things get worse. Despite his good intentions, Dariel feels like a defendant facing judgment during their dinner together. As tensions rise between Zeviance and Lady, Dariel realizes he can't hide his past any longer. He admits that he is a human raised by demons, a revelation that shocks both girls. While Lady empathizes with his situation, she insists that Zeviance, being a demon, has no place in a human village and should be expelled. Zeviance, on the other hand, denies Lady's claim to the title of hero. Marika slams a pot of stew onto the table, asserting her authority to maintain peace in her home, and demands they settle their dispute through a duel to reach mutual understanding. Both girls agree, and Dariel steps in as the referee, insisting they pledge not to escalate to lethal measures. He makes it clear that no lives should be lost. While Lady agrees quickly, Zeviance hesitates, unwilling to make such a promise. Dariel warns her that refusing will cost her any chance of getting mithril, and Marika withholds food until she agrees. With their agreement set for a morning duel under Dariel's rules, the psychological battle begins immediately. After dinner, they rush to the forge to have Sakai craft mithril weapons for them. That night, when Dariel arrives at the duel site, he finds Sakai exhausted and complaining bitterly. Dariel rescues him from the two eager combatants, scolding them for overworking Sakai like children in a sweatshop. The duel begins with Zeviance and Lady unleashing their full power, wearing the mithril gear Sakai prepared. Lady surrounds herself with aura while Zeviance uses her wind magic to create wings and takes to the skies. She attacks Lady with wind blasts, but Lady counters each one with Skyrim. When they switch to close-quarters combat, Zeviance uses her magic wings to defend against Lady's strikes. The intense battle draws Marika, who arrives with popcorn and snacks to watch. She's surprised to see that the two are evenly matched, neither able to gain the upper hand. They exchange powerful blows until they finally unleash their ultimate attacks. The clash between Lady and Zeviance sends powerful winds swirling, prompting the shield girl from the hero's party and Dariel to create barriers for protection. The noise wakes up Gran, Dariel's son, who is curious about the commotion. As Gran moves toward them, a large boulder, dislodged during the fight, begins to tumble toward him. Dariel quickly shields Gran, while Lady and Zeviance rush to help. Zeviance uses her wind magic to break the boulder, and Lady realizes that demons can be kind too. Fortunately, no one is hurt, and Gran laughs, thinking it was all a game. Amused by his innocence, everyone shares a laugh and decides to stop fighting. The former enemies become friends, leaving Dariel relieved that the duel ended positively. Seeing Lady and Zeviance become friends reinforces his belief that humans and demons can live together peacefully, moving closer to his dream of a harmonious society. Later that day, the spearman from Lady's party visits Dariel's home, excited to introduce him to someone he met in the forest during their quest. Dariel is shocked to see the former hero, Arancel, and worries about the fragile peace between humans and demons, knowing Arancel's hatred for demons. Unaware of the tension, Zeviance casually approaches the door and greets Arancel. Concerned that Arancel discovering Zeviance's true identity as a demon could cause trouble, Dariel pulls her aside and explains that the old man at their doorstep is Arancel, known as the greatest hero in history. Dariel recounts how Arancel survived Grand Baz's strongest attack and is known for his ruthless nature. Just then, children arrive asking for Arancel's autograph, and despite Dariel's fears, Arancel acts warmly, like a friendly grandfather. The children crowd around Arancel, who plays and laughs with them, surprising Dariel. Once it's clear that Arancel poses no threat, A long line of admirers forms outside Dariel's house for a chance to meet the hero. After some time, Dariel invites Arancel inside and offers him tea and snacks. He introduces Zeviance as an acquaintance, and Arancel warmly shakes her hand, not realizing she is a demon. Dariel suspects Arancel thinks she is human. He advises Zeviance to leave the village and avoid using magic, warning that Arancel can sense even the faintest magical presence. However, Zeviance is uninterested in leaving and prefers eating donuts over following Dariel's advice. Soon, Dariel reveals himself as the mayor of Lux Village and asks Arancel why he has come. Arancel explains that he heard his successor, Lady, was here and wanted to check on her progress. Lady apologizes for taking so long to defeat the Demon King, but Arancel takes the blame, admitting he sent her on the mission too soon. Now recovered from his injuries, he plans to resume her training, which makes Lady happy. Dariel sees this as a chance for Zeviance to leave while Arancel is busy training Lady. Eager to show Arancel the training grounds, Dariel is stopped by the former hero, who senses a mysterious presence nearby. Dariel worries that Zeviance's secret has been discovered, but Arancel points to Gashida outside, waving enthusiastically. Relieved, Dariel leads everyone to the training grounds. Gashida, acting like a big fan, needs constant reminders to focus on the sparring heroes. Arancel decides to teach Lady through live combat, telling her to attack him while he signs autographs for villagers. Lady uses her aura to enhance her abilities and lunges at Arancel, but he dodges her strikes effortlessly without even looking at her. While continuing to sign autographs, he suddenly grabs her wooden sword and redirects her, slamming her to the ground. Dariel suspects Arancel is toying with Lady, but Arancel praises her, noting her considerable growth. Curious about her training, Arancel asks who has been guiding her progress, and Lady credits Dariel, calling him the second strongest human after Arancel. Uncomfortable with this, Dariel tries to decline when Arancel pulls out a collapsible staff and challenges him to spar. Initially reluctant, Dariel is drawn in by Gashida's enthusiastic support. Feeling the weight of Arancel's intense aura, Dariel suggests they eat before the duel, and Arancel eagerly agrees. They decide on an outdoor picnic, enjoying shrimp fried rice. Arancel is curious about the shrimp in the dish, and the meal brings back nostalgic memories for him of his last homemade lunch. Dariel recalls Lady's story about the demons causing tragedy in Arancel's life, killing his wife and son, and empathizes deeply, understanding his own devotion to family. Zeviance observed from afar, thinking Arancel was no threat. After finishing her snacks, she walks towards the demon territory. Suddenly, a gust of wind sends a piece of drying laundry flying. Without thinking, she uses magic to fly and catches it, hoping for extra treats as a reward. However, her actions draw Arancel's attention. Sensing her magic, he transforms into the ruthless killer that Dariel knows well. Arancel throws his staff towards Dariel's home, catching Zeviance's clothing and hanging her upside down. He approaches, ready to kill her for being a demon, but Dariel intervenes, blocking his strike. Arancel orders Dariel to step aside and let him kill the demon. Despite recognizing Arancel's deadly intent, Dariel refuses to let anyone die in his village. He had seen Arancel's strength before, always alongside Grambaza, but now faced him alone. Pleading with Arancel to listen, Dariel braces himself as the former hero breaks a piece of fencing and advances. Dariel strikes, but Arancel leaps over him to target Zeviance. Dariel extends his weapon to counter, but Arancel parries and attacks with Skyrim. Dariel barely defends against the assault, sent flying outside. Realizing he's outmatched, he pulls Zeviance close for protection. The old hero hurls a wooden piece at him. Reinforcing a concrete slab with his aura, Dariel blocks it. Lady and Gashida arrive, but Dariel urges them not to intervene. Arancel, impressed to find another adept in all four aura types besides himself, claims destiny has united them and urges Dariel to join him as a hero against the Demon King. Dariel adamantly refuses, prompting Arancel to threaten to destroy both him and the demon. Both unleash their Emperor's Skyrim. Their aura dragons clash midair, with Arancel overpowering Dariel's assault, striking him. Fortunately, Dariel manages a last-minute defense with his aura shield, though the impact is severe. Lady faces Arancel, pleading for him to stop, but but his ominous presence overwhelms her. Arancel recounts encountering many who avoided battle out of fear of death, but Dariel is different. He demands to know why Dariel fights so fiercely to protect a demon. Dariel's response is unwavering. He seeks to prevent harm, regardless of race. The seasoned hero scoffs, asserting that humans and demons are locked in eternal conflict, dismissing dreams of peace as naive. Dariel counters quietly, his motivation simpler yet profound. Protecting loved ones is his sole aim. He feels others' pain deeply and cannot bear to see suffering. Aware of Arancel's loss to demons, Dariel empathizes, revealing his own fear of losing his cherished family. Zeviance, now a dear friend, strengthens his resolve. Arancel, taken aback, demands why Dariel clings to the demon cause, stunned to learn Dariel was raised among them. Meanwhile, Grambaza confronts the Demon King, who appears as a formidable dragon. The Demon King says that how others see him shows their own strength. Seeing him as a fearsome monster means Grambaza has grown stronger and recovered from his injuries. Grambaza gets straight to the point. He demands that the Demon King dismiss his son, Bashbaza, from the role of Demon General. When asked for reasons, Grambaza cites Bashbaza's repeated failures and reclusive behavior. He hasn't left his room or responded to messages in over a year. Grambaza worries that the demon army's order is falling apart, with only droids bearing the burden. Not concerned about his son's future, Grambaza insists on firing him for the army's sake. The Demon King, however, sees through Grambaza's true motive, punishing Bashbaza for dismissing Dariel. Accusing Grambaza of caring more for his adopted assistant than his own son, the Demon King strikes a nerve. Grambaza's mind drifts back to a rainy day in his youth on the battlefield. His dying friend Bezin, the Water General, entrusted him with a secret weapon to defeat the hero, an illusion-concealed child hidden in the eastern forest. Unveiling the illusion, Grambaza found the boy, whom he named Dariel out of a paternal instinct to protect. Returning to the present, Grambaza tells the Demon King that both Dariel and Bashbaza are his sons. Touched, the Demon King reveals Dariel's whereabouts. Grambaza thanks him, but the Demon King warns that retrieving Dariel won't be easy. He's deeply integrated into his current life. Furthermore, Dariel possesses all 4 types of auras like the legendary hero, making Grambaza finally understand Bezin's reference to him as a secret weapon. Back in Lux Village, Arancel presses Dariel to explain his earlier mention of being raised by demons. Dariel recounts how Water General Bezin found him and entrusted him to fire General Grambaza, who raised him as his own. Arancel, recalling his vengeful act against Bezin and the mystery of his son's disappearance, asks Dariel his age. Learning that Dariel is 33, realization dawns on Arancel. Trembling, he embraces Dariel, proclaiming him his long-lost son, presumed dead all these years. Onlookers are stunned, and Dariel struggles to grasp the sudden revelation. He questions Arancel, who explains that 33 years ago, Bezin killed his wife and he believed his son was lost. Moreover, Dariel's inheritance of the 4 aura attributes confirms his lineage. Arancel is certain beyond doubt that Dariel is his son, yet Dariel finds it overwhelming to accept that the greatest hero in history is his father. As Arancel senses a presence watching them, he sends a Skyran towards the cliff, intercepted by Grambaza, who arrives to reclaim his adopted son. Dariel is astonished to see Grambaza approaching. Landing before them, Grambaza acknowledges Dariel's growth since they last met. Dariel, on the verge of a heartfelt reunion with his adoptive father, sees Arancel draw his weapon. Seeing both fathers ready to fight, Dariel intervenes, urging them to stop. He implores Arancel to hear Grambaza out, acknowledging the debt he owes to the man who raised him. Arancel calms himself down, and Grambaza shares that he only recently found out the truth, even though he had suspected Dariel was human for a long time. Despite knowing this, Grambaza couldn't let Dariel go. Dariel thanks Grambaza for everything he did, making sure he never felt like an orphan. Grambaza insists he is the one who is thankful, trying to earn Dariel's respect by becoming the strongest of the demon generals. He hugs Dariel proudly, which makes Arancel jealous as he thinks about the years he lost and can never get back. His anger grows, now driven by bitterness instead of the hope he had with Dariel. Grambaza invites Arancel to let out his anger and take revenge for Bezin's crimes against his family. He tells Dariel to find happiness with his real father. As tensions rise towards a fight, Dariel tries to step in. Luckily, Marika arrives just in time and throws water on them to cool them down. She tells them to stop fighting, reminding them they wouldn't want to show hate in front of their grandson, Gran. Marika introduces Gran as their grandson, calming the situation. Dariel takes the chance to end the conflict for good. He asks Granbaza to stop seeking redemption through death and asks Arancel to accept being a grandfather. Arancel gently holds his grandson, while Dariel thanks Marika for easing the tension, her hug bringing him relief. Meanwhile, Bashbaza comes out of hiding and learns that his father asked the Demon King to dismiss him for being incompetent. His foolish actions have upset both the demon army and society. Ignoring a servant's mention of Dariel's possible solution, Bashbaza demands food from the chef, who reminds him of his unpaid bills and looming job loss. The chef misses Dariel, who used to make sure all debts were paid on time, now leaving them open to freeloaders. Bashbaza feels insulted at the mention of Dariel's name and uses destructive magic, setting the fancy demon restaurant on fire. As he leaves the burning building, he vows to get revenge on those who liked Dariel, planning to take everything from him. With a forbidden power awakened in his eye, Bashbaza decides to correct his mistake of just exiling Dariel by planning to kill him. Back in Luck's village, Granbaza and Arancel enjoy their time with their grandson, Gran, while Dariel takes care of his injuries. The two grandfathers compete for Gran's attention, making Arancel jealous of Gran's demon-inspired name. Gran fusses because he needs a diaper change, adding to their rivalry. Lizette calls Dariel, which makes Gran want to talk to him, causing more jealousy between the grandfathers. Granbaza gets angry at Lizette for being too close to Gran without his permission. Later, they all have dinner together. Dariel sees his three father figures drinking, with Envel stuck between the two strongest men of their time. They toast, but Envel's mug breaks as he cheers Arancel and Granbaza. They get drunk and start talking about Dariel's childhood. Granbaza tells stories, and Arancel, thankful to his former enemy for raising his son, shakes hands with him, putting their past behind them. After everyone goes to bed, Dariel helps Marika with the dishes, even though his injuries still hurt. She reapplies medicine and says that if Arancel and Granbaza weren't Dariel's fathers, she would have scolded them for being reckless earlier. She praises Dariel for being strong. She leaves, and Dariel tries to eat his pudding when Zeviance comes in. Worried about her after her tough experiences, Dariel sees she is focused on his words about her importance to him. Thinking he declared his love, Zeviance jokes about becoming his second wife. Dariel tries to explain, but she flies away, laughing. The next morning at breakfast, Lady asks Arancel to continue her training. Dariel questions her resolve after learning that not all demons are evil. She stays firm in her goal to defeat the Demon King. Dariel asks why heroes hate the Demon King. Arancel explains that heroes are taught that the Demon King represents all the world's suffering, a belief passed down by tradition. He reveals that the Demon King has unmatched strength and wisdom. The Central Guild wants to kill him to gain his knowledge and power, supposedly to help humanity. Legends say the Demon King gave demons their magic, so his death might allow humans to get magic too. Granbaza confirms that his people have a similar legend, but its truth is still unknown. Dariel suggests talking to the Demon King directly, surprising Lady by revealing that the original Demon King is still in power. She wonders if he is an eternal being, making it hard to think of defeating him. Arancel, worried, advises Lady to give up the hopeless fight, but Lady is determined to become stronger and learn the truth about the demon god. Suddenly, Gashida arrives and reports a monster attack on the Mithril mine, asking Dariel to protect it. Dariel organizes a squad to join them later and asks Zeviance to teleport them to the mine. Zeviance agrees, but the intense heat from an infernal dragon forces her to stop midair. Shocked by the dragon, Granbaza says they can't approach from above anymore. They continue on foot to the mine gates, where injured soldiers tell Dariel that knockers are trapped inside. Worried about their safety, Dariel goes to rescue them, while the group plans to face the dragon. Dariel rushes to the mine with Arancel, who prioritizes his son's safety. Outside, Granbaza suspects the dragon's origin, but Lady, eager for action, charges at it. With Zevian's help, Lady creates magical footholds for the team. Sesha attacks the dragon with his spear, but it has no effect. Lady tries her Skyren attack, which also fails. Zeviance protects them from the dragon's counterattack, which burns her armor. Grambaza steps in, controlling the dragon's flames and challenging it as the magical flame beast salamander. Meanwhile, Dariel and Arancel reach the trapped knockers behind debris in the mine. Arancel tries to clear the rubble, but the infernal dragon suddenly appears. Recognizing the immediate danger, Dariel insists they deal with the dragon first. Father and son use their Emperor Skyren techniques together, bringing the dragon down from the sky. Onlookers are amazed as the dragon crashes to the ground. Dariel approaches it without fear, trying to calm it. Surprisingly, the dragon changes its behavior, turns away, and flies back to its nest. Despite their success, Lady feels the dragon still holds hostility, but Dariel senses something familiar rather than threatening. Grambaza, sensing something important, decides to go back to the Demon King's castle with Zeviance to investigate further. Meanwhile, Dariel's group focuses on rescuing the Grateful Knockers. Praised as their hero, Dariel feels guilty for not preventing the incident. Arancel comforts him, telling Dariel not to take all the responsibility alone and to ask for help when needed. Then, they hear news of a missing man last seen in the mines. Dariel joins the Knockers to search for him, leaving the surface search to his father. At Grambaza's mansion, he confronts Bashbaza, who has a new demon eye and a facial tattoo. Grambaza questions Bashbaza about entering the Chamber of Secrets, reacting strongly when Bashbaza pretends not to know. Bashbaza explains to Zeviance that the chamber holds powerful and dangerous magic spells called hexes, sealed away because they are unpredictable. Grambaza suspects one hex allows control over magical beasts, explaining the salamander's behavior at the mine. When confronted, Bashbaza admits his involvement. Grambaza is disappointed in Bashbaza for misusing his magical talents, unlike Dariel who uses his skills wisely. Grambaza criticizes Bashbaza for wasting his potential. These words hit Bashbaza hard, bringing back a childhood memory that made him believe his father favored Dariel. His anger flares, and he accuses Grambaza of siding with humans, as seen through the salamander's eyes. Grambaza, not moved by the accusations, warns Bashbaza about the harmful effects of using the spirit synchronization hex to control monsters. It damages the mind and body. Grambaza condemns Bashbaza for putting innocent lives at risk with the forbidden hex and attacks him with fire magic. In response, Bashbaza summons the salamander again, deflecting his father's attack. He vows to prove his strength by killing both the former and current heroes in one blow. He rides off on the salamander despite his father and Zeviance pleas for reason. Meanwhile, inside the mine, Dariel and the Knockers search for the missing people when the mine starts to shake. Feeling danger, they get ready to leave, but a powerful voice stops them. Turning around, Dariel sees a huge stone face coming out of the mine walls, asking to speak with him. Dariel says he doesn't know the face and tries to escape with the Knockers, but Giganta, the magical earth beast, blocks their way. Giganta blames Dariel for the recent salamander attack, saying it hurt him despite their past friendship. Dariel apologizes for any harm but denies causing the attack. Giganta warns of a coming danger to Lux Village and asks to see a piece of mithril, which he says is part of his own body. Dariel takes out his Hermes sword, and Giganta admires its quality, adding his power to it and unlocking its full potential by removing some of its limits. Although Dariel is curious, Giganta refuses to explain more and disappears, returning the mine to normal. The Knockers find the missing person and prepare to rescue him as Dariel gets a call from Grambaza. Grambaza reveals that Bashbaza used a forbidden hex to summon the dragon and send it to the mine to kill the heroes. Dariel realizes the familiar feeling he got from the salamander was like his past interactions with Bashbaza. Now understanding the threat to Lux Village, Bashbaza wants to destroy everything he loves. Returning home, Dariel tells his father-in-law to evacuate the villagers while he faces his adoptive brother. Marika gives him his gear and places their wedding ring on his finger, silently showing her support. She urges him to resolve the conflict quickly and return safely. At the gates of Lux Village, Dariel stands with the adventurers and ladies group, waiting for the dragon. Soon, the dragon appears with Bashbaza riding it. Bashbaza greets Dariel casually, complaining about the darkness before lighting up the area with destructive spells. Recognizing the spells from his father's battles with Grambaza, Aransel wonders if Bashbaza's power matches his father's. While Aransel wants to defeat the Fire General, Dariel seeks a peaceful solution. Bashbaza notices Dariel's wedding ring and sarcastically congratulates him. Dariel is confused by Bashbaza's strange rant, where the demon general says that those with more responsibilities suffer more when they fail. Threatening to kill Dariel's wife, burn down his village, and hunt him down, Bashbaza throws Dariel into confusion. Remembering Grambaza's request to look after his troubled son, Dariel feels the weight of that promise, now seeming impossible to keep. Releasing his aura, he turns his Hermes sword into a whip, determined to stop Bashbaza at any cost. In response, Bashbaza commands the salamander to attack the village and burn it down. Dariel manages to catch Salamander's leg with his whip, though Bashbaza laughs at the effort with just a weapon. However, with help from his magic-using friends, Dariel forces the dragon to the ground. With Zeviance and Grambaza back to help, Dariel fights Bashbaza. Using his Skyrim magic, Dariel counters Bashbaza's fiery attacks, leading them away from the others. During the fight, Dariel tries to make peace, apologizing to Bashbaza and suggesting they talk things out. Surprisingly, Bashbaza says he didn't know about the Mithril mine incident. Dariel asks about his deep anger, and Bashbaza reveals his big plan: to end the human-demon war by killing the heroes and wiping out humanity. But first, he wants to settle his score with Dariel. Bashbaza attacks with fireballs, and Dariel defends with his sword, but the attacks are very strong. Bashbaza's relentless assault pushes Dariel through the forest and into the air with a powerful explosion. Then another spell crashes him into nearby hills, but he avoids serious injury. Bashbaza then explains his evil plan. He spent a year finding the spirit synchronization hex and hunted Salamander to control it. Instead of being scared, Dariel admires Bashbaza's hard work and skill, calling him the best magic user he's met, even though he seems unaware of his surroundings. Feeling insulted, Bashbaza attacks with more fiery magic, telling Dariel to be quiet. Dariel remembers his peaceful village life and refuses to just take the attacks. Using the Emperor's Skyrim, he blasts Bashbaza away, but still worries about him. Suddenly, a strong wind clears the smoke, showing Bashbaza full of a strange energy. Horns grow from his head, and a thick tail appears. He's transforming into a monster. Bashbaza says this form is his ultimate weapon to kill heroes, surprised it came out early. Dariel watches, unsure of what will happen next. Meanwhile, the fight with Salamander continues. Lady's shield user makes barriers to ground the dragon, while Gashida's arrows stop its attacks. Aransel, feeling clear-headed, fights with his old enemy. Grambaza and the older fighters join in, working together. Dodging the dragon's fiery breath, they attack. Aransel's quick moves confuse the beast, then he strikes with adamantine thunderbolt. Grambaza uses this chance to summon a powerful hellfire pillar, overwhelming Salamander. The fighters are impressed by the general's strength, but then they see another disturbance, a huge fireball and a bright aura pillar elsewhere. At Dariel's location, he realizes that Bashbaza's demonic transformation is caused by the hex. Bashbaza attacks with his tail, but Dariel blocks it, and they jump apart. Bashbaza mocks Dariel for not having strong magic, getting angrier when Dariel stays calm. Dariel deflects a fiery punch, but gets thrown aside by Bashbaza's tail. Bashbaza taunts Dariel, claiming he is better in every way, but Dariel's attempts to reason with him don't work. Using his father's hellfire magic, Bashbaza forces Dariel to use all his strength. Dariel charges his Hermes blade with aura, turning it into a bright beam of light, and strikes Bashbaza, causing a big explosion. Instead of being defeated, Bashbaza transforms further into a more monstrous form. Dariel understands his attack sped up the hex's effects, turning Bashbaza into a magical beast. Bashbaza attacks Dariel, slamming him into the ground and throwing him into a hill. As they fight, Dariel begs Bashbaza to spare Grambaza more pain, which only angers him more. Suddenly, Dariel finds himself in Bashbaza's memories, seeing a young Bashbaza enjoying his father's praise. Grambaza tells Bashbaza he must become a great demon and lead the Transcendental Tempest. Dariel realizes the hex is pulling him into Bashbaza's troubled past. The memories continue. Dariel sees young Bashbaza just returning from one of Grandbaza's trips. As Bashbaza eagerly approaches his father, he finds Dariel by his side. Grandbaza tells Bashbaza to listen to Dariel as an older brother, making Bashbaza feel neglected after waiting for his father's return. Wanting to prove himself, Bashbaza aims to join the demon army, despite his mother's worry about her family's distractions. Even after becoming one of the 4 generals, Bashbaza feels hurt when Grandbaza retires and leaves him in Dariel's care again. Watching these events, Dariel finally understands Bashbaza's loneliness and need for affection, feeling pity for him. But Bashbaza senses Dariel's sympathy and rejects it, saying he doesn't need pity. Trying to connect, Dariel tells Bashbaza that Grandbaza cares for him, comparing it to how Aransel wrongly thought his son was harmed by demons. Despite Dariel's efforts, Bashbaza remains unmoved until Dariel's mithril glove starts glowing, connecting their memories. Bashbaza sees a younger Dariel, feeling insecure as Grandbaza's adopted child, unable to use magic but always trying to make Grandbaza happy with his smiles. Their bond deepens after their first meeting, with Dariel feeling like part of Grandbaza's family and as Bashbaza's older brother. In the dream world, Dariel urges Bashbaza to give back the support and purpose he once gave, causing a change in Bashbaza as the dream world begins to fade. Bashbaza thinks about how he rejected friendship with Dariel before and wonders how things might have been different if he had been more open. Coming back to his senses, he offers his friendship to Dariel again. Just as they reach out to each other, the hex interrupts, causing a sharp pain in Bashbaza's head. The salamander breaks free, drawing energy from the Hellfire sphere to get stronger, creating a violent surge that overpowers Bashbaza. He rides the dragon, using another hex to merge with it. Even though Grandbaza warns it's dangerous, temporary control will lead to absorption. Dariel arrives just as Bashbaza takes off with the dragon, now ready to sacrifice himself to fix past mistakes, thankful for his honest talk with Dariel. Suddenly, Bashbaza is thrown off the dragon, seeing Grandbaza taking control with a hex, though it strains him. As the dragon fights against Grandbaza's influence, Dariel and Zeviance appear, using Emperor Skyrim, their strongest attack, to defeat the salamander. In the chaos, Zeviance keeps herself and Dariel in one pocket, while in another, Grandbaza holds Bashbaza, giving him a comforting feeling of home, like his childhood. News of Dariel's victory reaches Marika, who prepares a grand feast for her returning husband. She senses his presence outside and rushes out, accidentally breaking their door. Dariel, surprised by her quick approach, braces for her hug, even if it means a few broken bones. To his surprise, she hugs him gently, making Dariel let down his guard before her hug almost overwhelms him. With peace in the village, Bashbaza goes to the Demon King to face judgment for his actions. The Demon King looks different since their last meeting, showing Bashbaza's growth. Hearing Bashbaza's plea for justice, the Demon King uses an ancient spell to open the gates of hell beneath Bashbaza. Sinister spirits emerge, former generals who, like Bashbaza, committed serious sins and were condemned. The Demon King gives Bashbaza a choice: redemption as a demon general, fixing past wrongs, or eternal torment in hell. Grateful for the Demon King's mercy, Bashbaza insists that his crimes are too severe to forgive, choosing hell as his deserved punishment. He believes that using hexes and trying to control the salamander were serious offenses, and hell is the fair consequence. As a hell spirit grabs his leg, the Demon King stops it with his power. Disappointed by Bashbaza's firm decision, the Demon King originally planned to trick him with false hope and enjoy his despair when he fell into hell. But because of Bashbaza's strong resolve, the Demon King instead sentences him to exile, the same fate he once gave Dariel. Bashbaza leaves the king's chambers to find his father and his pet bird waiting. They go straight to Dariel's home, where a celebration is happening. Dariel is relieved to hear about Bashbaza's successful meeting with the Demon King. Just as Dariel is about to introduce his son to Bashbaza, Lady interrupts, reminding them of the damage Bashbaza caused to the mithril mine and its people. Grandbaza tries to take the blame, but Bashbaza stops him, sincerely apologizing for his past actions. At that moment, Gran wakes up, and Dariel introduces him to Bashbaza. Gran, eager to meet him, says his first words, calling Bashbaza Big Brother Bashbaza. These words bring back many memories for Bashbaza. helping him feel accepted into a family after years of loneliness. Filled with remorse, he promises to make up for his crimes, and everyone recognizes his genuine change. Marika announces Grand's milestone of speaking his first words, leading to a joyful celebration. Dariel decides to mark the occasion by asking Gashida to paint their family portrait with his fast painting skills. He imagines the painting becoming a treasured memory, symbolizing the day Grand spoke his first words and their family's new unity. During the festivities, Bashbaza prepares to leave the next morning on his journey of redemption. He aims to help the people and knockers harmed by his actions, and to become someone worthy of being called an elder brother by Dariel. With good wishes from Dariel and supplies from Marika, Bashbaza sets off. With peace in their village and their family united, Dariel and Marika continue to enjoy their calm lives. So the moral of the story is, if you're feeling down about being kicked out of the demon army, just remember, you might end up as the beloved hero of a quirky village, with a magical sword, a human dad, a demon dad, and a dragon problem to spice up your life.